Some people ask me how am I using the Kinect with TouchDesigner with the Mac. So I'm going to show how I did it and a few examples inside TouchDesigner. There's this library, libFreeNac2, which has been around for a long time and it works, but not inside TouchDesigner. I found someone that did an implementation for the Kinect V1. The Kinect I have is the V2. I got in touch with them and then they released an update for the V2 just like a couple of weeks ago. It's called FreeNac TD, so you can just search FreeNac TD on GitHub. This is the user, the original user that made this. There is all the instructions here on how to install. There's basically two ways to install. You can download this spec and just open it and it will install everything for you. You just have to give authorization for it. There's another way, which is installing next to your project file. So if you want this plugin to be kind of like attached to your project, so when you move the project it also works, this is also a good option. So there's some instructions here and you can support the person that did this plugin. Okay, when you inside TouchDesigner, after you install the plugin, you see on the custom tab here of your OP dialog, there's the custom, and then you see FreeNac, and then you want to add that. I already have it here. Inside the parameters of this operator, you have an on-off button. You have the hardware version, so you can choose the Kinect V1, which was the Xbox 360 one, or the V2, the Xbox One. You can enable or disable the depth, the point cloud, and the IR outputs, and I'll show you what they are. The operator only has one output, and it's the RGB, like the normal camera output, but that's not what we want. We want the depth information. The way to access that is adding a render select top, and then you drag your FreeNac here. You can see here it's selected, FreeNac 1, and then it has like this index, and each number of the index is a different output. So the first one is the RGB, the next one is just the depth information, then we have the point cloud information, which we'll look at, and you can get the IR camera if you want to do some like night vision thing or something like that. First, let's look at the point cloud output. So the point cloud, what it does is it gets all the spatial information and it encodes this into the RGB channels. So you can see how the red is the x-axis, and then I think the green is here, and the blue is the depth information. And then we can turn this later into 3D points. So the way I did this, I used the top to pop, and then here it already created, imagine like one point for each of the pixels. Okay, so one point for each of the pixels of the image that is coming. And then what we want to do is that we want to re-encode the color information to position information. So here I'm using a math combine because that allows me to work with like scale and invert things. So I'm using here like 3 operations, A multiplied by B, and then I have color 0, which is the R, color 1, the G, and color 2, the B. And I'm routing that to P, so like position 0, 1, and 2, so X, Y, and Z. And here we can already see we have this, let me move it here. We have now the depth information, and here it's really trying to position the dots as they are in the real space. So we have the wall behind me, and the distances should be roughly correct here, and the proportions and everything. Here I'm just setting again the color to make it easier to see. And here just deleting the background. So what you can do is say like, oh, okay, after a specific distance, delete every point. So I can have just the subject here. There's another way to use this. In case you want to use the actual camera image but still have some depth information, what you can do is you can have the RGB output and the depth map. And here I'm doing something to mix them up, so I'm just putting them in the same resolution, and then I'm transforming, instead of being the depth on like black and white, I'm putting this to the alpha channel, then I'm mixing them up, and so here I still have the colors RGB and the depth with the alpha channel, and then I'm again doing the same thing, turning this from tops to pops, combining them. And here what I'm doing is I'm only using the alpha, so the color 3, to the position, the depth position. I'm not doing anything with the other colors. So the position here is no more, it's not accurate anymore, but it holds the color information, and if I look straight, I can still have that same 2D camera image, but now with depth information. I can do a delete here to clean things up. I can do a copy, so I get a lot of like small boxes, and then I'll copy them to each of those points. And then this I'll add to like a normal render flow here. And then what I do is the camera here, it's an orthographic camera, so the image is gonna keep the same aspect as it had before. So you can see here now I have my image, but I still have the depth information. So for example, here I have this box. I can, move it and play with this and have a 2D image, but still with the depth information. I hope this helps. If you need any more information, let me know. I can send you this file also. And yeah, let me know what you create with this.